Democrats' net approval of congressional Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University. In June of 2025, it was their second worst ever at minus 12 points. It's not low enough for you? How about we go even lower? In July of 2025, minus 13 points. Their worst net approval rating for congressional Democrats among Democrats ever.
Our friend Harry Enton once again on the show. He reported last week that congressional Democrats are polling horrendously. So what are Democratic officials doing about it? Well, according to a report by Sludge, they're worrying a lot more about donors than they are about their constituents. Cenk, what did you think of that report?
Yeah. So the fact that Democrats can't find a way out of this wet paper bag is amazing. Trump is plummeting in the polls. We showed that earlier in the show. We'll give you some numbers in a little bit. But Democrats need to be honest with themselves first. And as you're gonna see later in the story, they're absolutely refusing to do that. Like consciously making a decision, we are not going to be honest with ourselves. Instead, we're gonna do distractions and make sure that we don't find out what went wrong. By the way, also in this story, I'll tell you what actually went wrong, because it's not that hard to figure out.
It is, and I think it is not that hard, but I think we're probably going to disagree a little in this. And we haven't done that for a while, so it'll be.
That'll be fun. Okay,
it might be. While the Sludge report that we are referring to is titled "While They're Losing the Public, Democrats Are Winning on K Street," and K Street is the famous lobbying street of Washington D.C. The report reads: in the first half of 2025, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, the DCCC, which is what House committee, it's the committee to re-elect House Democrats and elect House Democrats, raised over $10.8 million from federally registered lobbyists, according to new FEC disclosures. The group's largest haul from K Street influence peddlers in any 6-month period on record, according to a Sludge review. Meanwhile, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has been talking a big game when it comes to standing up for working class Americans and not K Street. Here is the Minority Leader.
Imagine in America where everyone who works hard and plays by the rules can live the good life, afford to live the good life. Good paying job, good housing, good health care, good education for your children, and a good retirement. That's what House Democrats are fighting for. That's the aspirational part of the Declaration of Independence, to bring that to life, the pursuit of happiness.
So Zora Mandani, who has centered his entire campaign for the mayor of New York on making that city more affordable, he has been talking about these issues as a candidate, and now he's won the Democratic primary there. Jeffries, for his part, has refused to endorse him. Last week, Politico reported the following: House Democratic leaders won't whip against crypto bills. So that's referring to the 3 crypto bills that the crypto industry itself has supported. And when they say they won't whip against it, it means that they're not going to, put up a big fight against it, not organize a fight. Keep in mind that the last election cycle, the crypto industry donated huge sums of money to Republicans and to Democrats. Companies in the crypto sector have poured hundreds of millions of dollars into influence efforts, and a mountain of super PAC money is threatening to target lawmakers who stand in the way of the industry's goals. So again, we'll just keep hammering this home, Cenk, and then we'll talk about it. Another Politico report from February: Hakeem Jeffries met privately with Silicon Valley donors in a bid to mend fences. It reads: Democratic House leader Hakeem Jeffries quietly met with more than 150 Silicon Valley-based donors last week in California. The group included several top tech executives, including DocuSign CEO Alan Tigason, Box CEO Aaron Levy, Bloom Energy CEO KR Sridhar, and Cooper Tabo, a major Democratic donor advisor in Silicon Valley. Robert Klein and Danielle Gutman Klein, major Democratic donors, hosted it at their home in Los Altos Hills. In his remarks, Jeffries concentrated on how Democrats plan to retake the House in 2026. He said Democrats were reaching toward the center. Trump will swing to the right. And here's Jeffrey's page on Open Secrets. As you can see here, Jeffrey's top donors last campaign cycle were from individuals and PACs affiliated with AIPAC, BlackRock, Apollo Global, Lockheed Martin, and MetLife. This isn't, though, just about Jeffries. It's about the Democratic Party overall, Cenk. Over the weekend, we will talk about a story the New York Times broke, but let's just take a break here to discuss Hakeem Jeffries, the message, and the strategy.
Yeah. So, first of all, I don't want anybody getting the wrong idea. Are the Democrats raising more money from lobbyists than the Republicans? No. The answer is we don't know, because the Republicans don't report the money they raise from lobbyists. So when one side doesn't report, you have to assume that it's worse. And I would do likewise if the Democrats weren't reporting. So understandably, the Republicans probably do raise more because they're in power. But you've got to be thinking, then why are the lobbyists giving so much to the Democrats and breaking records for how much they give to Democrats? Within the Democratic Party, they're breaking records. Well, for two reasons. One is the one Michael pointed out. They want to pass bills and they don't want any opposition. So the crypto guys are among the top 4 donors to the Democrats, and it's worked spectacularly. So they've been completely neutered, and now the crypto bills are flying through Congress, easily deregulating crypto, and now they can get away with whatever scams and fraud that they want because there's no opposition. And so that is exactly what's wrong with money in politics. And that is why I tell you guys all the time that if you don't get the money out, we're never gonna win. The Democrats aren't really on your side. They're on the side of the donors. So, and in fact, we asked you a poll question about it on TYT.com, because it's related to this. And then I'll come back and finish the point. Do you think Democrats raising record cash from lobbyists will help or hurt them? And A, help, B, hurt. Because yes, so taking the money, they say, makes them more competitive in the races. But wait, there's a couple of problems with that. Number one, most of these incumbents are in deeply safe blue districts. So you're raising the money to fend off another Democrat. So that doesn't really help the Democratic agenda. It might help your career, right? But it doesn't necessarily help the Democratic agenda. Might they be that selfish? Of course, right? Maybe it helps them on some of the purple seats, but I think it does, I agree with our audience, it does way more damage, because then, number one, you don't get to criticize the other side for their obvious corruption. Corruption is a huge issue. Number two, you don't ever actually do anything. So the number one issue the Democrats have now, and why they're so intensely unpopular, is because how are you fighting back with milquetoast speeches like that? But you're not taking any actual action. Okay, and there's one other reason why the lobbyists give so much to Democrats now, because they know this game better than the average bear. So who's gonna control Congress in 2026? Very likely the Democrats are, because Trump is very unpopular already. He's at -11, and when he's at -11 in popularity, the Democrats should be high, but no, they're not. They're sinking. So they're both sinking at the same time. Why? Because they're both gorging on lobbyist money, and we have eyes and ears, and we can see it. So that's why they're both unpopular.
Right, but if he goes up 1,000%, he'll be at 674% popularity.
That is Trump math.
I just, and maybe it's because I'm such a nerd about this stuff. I see the role of Hakeem Jeffries differently than I do the Democratic Party, kind of writ large, as they say annoyingly now, which is that he has to appeal to every single part of the Democratic Party as the leader who wants to become the speaker. So he's got to go to Silicon Valley and speak to those people and tell them what they want to hear, which is not to say that it isn't true, but he also has to bring a different message to community housing group in St. Paul, Minnesota. So the way that he does his job, I don't think should be representative of how the Democratic Party should be addressing these issues. It is very difficult when you know, and you've run for Congress, I've run for Congress. When you run for Congress, everyone's telling you how much money you need to raise. The leadership is telling you, the party's telling you, you watch what your opponents are raising, and that is sadly, and why it's so noble that the TYT has fought so hard to get money out of politics. It's why money poisons the well. But it's easy to understand why these people want to raise the money, and that sucks. That is terrible, but it's the knife to the gunfight stuff, which I don't know how to square. But if you don't take lobbyist money and you don't take PAC money, where are you left? You're left with a message that you cannot amplify to a degree. How do you answer that? I'm really curious.
Yeah. So look, there are legitimate points in there. So a couple of things. Number one, if your leader is going to meet with donors, it's not the end of the question, right? So I understand what Michael's saying. I'm in favor of talking to everyone. The establishment politicians, the right wing, the left wing. I want to talk to everybody, right? So if Hakeem Jeffries does that, that's not the issue. The issue is when you come back and your votes indicate and your actions indicate that you didn't just listen. You got orders and then you followed those orders. So a couple of examples. The crypto one's a perfect one. What, over 80 Democrats voted with the crypto scammers? So then don't tell me, oh, well, I could just listen to them and they get to make their case, but doesn't mean I'm gonna vote with them. No, history indicates that you are going to vote with them and it's because you took their money. So you could make that argument 1,000 different ways, but no one's gonna believe you. You took a pile of cash, then you changed your position and voted to deregulate crypto, which is a deeply undemocratic position, Democratic Party, right? Regular Democratic parties for more regulation, meaning, hey, don't screw over consumers, don't screw over the little guy. That's what you're supposed to be for. Second case, and I can give you hundreds of these, but you've got $1 trillion defense budget. The Republicans are on the record, you're welcome, as saying that they would cut the defense budget. So when they added $150 billion to it, boom, you got a perfect thing handed to you on a silver platter, right? So you come in and you go, look at this, they're adding pork, and I can't believe this, what a waste of money, and this is waste, fraud, and abuse. And they can't pass an audit, so you have a perfect case for waste, fraud, and abuse at the Pentagon. And some of them made that case, Ro Khanna made that case, but Hakeem Jeffries and none of the Democratic leaders made the case either at all or anywhere near effectively. Oh, could it be that your top donors are Lockheed Martin and and other defense contractors? Well, of course. So, but last thing on that, Michael, because I want to do the autopsy too, is that this is why the Democrats don't take any action. And this is why the Democratic voters are confused. Because if you're in the Bernie camp or you listen to the Young Turks for the last 10, 20 years, you all know why, it's the donor money, right? But if you didn't hear that, and you were watching, MSNBC or whatever, you're perplexed. You're like, why aren't they doing anything? It's because they went and talked to the donors, and donors told them, shut up and don't fight back. So oil companies, that's among their top 4 donors. There's $17 billion in subsidies. Take from Bob and Sally in Kansas, barely making the rent or the mortgage, and give it to ExxonMobil as a gift for no damn reason. And the Democrats won't even fight back against it. That's the easiest layup.
It's a layup. We just said it at the same time. It's a layup.
Yeah, and that's because they're taking money from the oil companies.
Right. Well, I mean, it's obvious, and that's what it goes back to the root of this, which is the poisoning of the well by the money in politics, and it's not going to be solved. It might be not going to be solved at this desk, but it might be solved by this desk.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.